High five for faithers. Joy, unending joy. How can we find that? We are caught up in this time of joy, the reason for the season, and to be jolly and all these kinds of things. And it's a difficult thing to find joy during these troubling times. Statistically, we were hearing of people who are just desperate and in despair. Many taking their lives, many just in depression. How can we find joy during these troubling times? Certainly this virus has led us to just being down and not very happy. How can we find joy? In reading the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon reminds us that this life is meaningless. Now, wait a minute, Dave, I thought you were going to talk about joy. Well, he reminds us that our lives are going to be full of heartache and toil. He goes on to say that those who are dead are better than us who are alive. Well, thanks a lot, Solomon. I'm really getting picked up and encouraged by your words. But he says this, maybe he's in a mood, or he's melancholy, or during this writing, or maybe he has a point. The simplicity of his words are found in Ecclesiastes chapter 8. He says, I commend to the enjoyment of this life, because nothing is better for a man under the sun than to eat and drink and be jolly or be glad. Then he says, joy will accompany him in his work all the days of his life. Finding joy. Whistling while you work, I like to say. Sometimes it's a desire to find joy. It means the emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune, or by the prospect of possessing what one's desire is. A state of happiness or bliss. Sometimes it's just getting in there and having a positive attitude and realizing what's ahead of you during that day and choosing joy. Secondly, it's an act of or a source or cause of delight. Weeks ago, I did a 5 for Faith on delight that you may want to check out, because I like when David finds himself delighting in the eyes of the Lord. But finding joy in the Lord by delighting in him. This causes us to look to him as the source of happiness, as the fulfillment for us that causes joy. In Psalms 43, David is caught up in the idea of God being his joy and his delight. In fact, throughout the book of Psalms, if you were to look up this word joy, you'll find dozens and dozens and dozens of examples of David in particular caught up in this thought of joy. I want to encourage you, after this video is over, to pull up your Bible, flip back to the concordance, look up the word joy, and then go back and look at those verses, and may it encourage you as you do that. But let's make today a practical time of unending, unspeakable joy by first whistling while we work, and then turning our hearts, our emotions, our thoughts to this God who loves us. That'll give us that inner joy that we all need. Thanks, church. May you have a happy day today, and happy studying to you. Thanks again.